Hello, folks. Hello. I am the Gothic Storyteller. Welcome to Throwback Cinema. I legit was here ready. I was ready to start. And then I forgot. Oh, I need to have my mic raised. So, like, my books were just standing right here. And I was like, I'm over here ready, psyching myself up. And I'm just like, something else is missing. Something's missing. Uh, but how are you guys doing? Welcome in. Welcome in. Hi, Arctic. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well. Today's stream is going to be I should say scream. Today's scream is going to be very short and sweet today. A little bloody. I don't have too many of the visuals on today. When is he ever here? Look, I finally made it. Hi, Nova. Lies, he wasn't here. I hope you guys are doing well and everything. We're gonna jump quickly to the topic at hand because a lot of things have happened since the last time I streamed. So we are going to talk about future stream updates. We're going to talk about that real quick and everything. So like this week we were supposed to have a Thursday stream, but I'm like, I feel like a little burnt out. Not for the streaming, it was just like all of the editing I've been doing, and then the posting, advertising, writing, and everything that I've been doing. Like, I just kind of feel like a little overwhelmed, and I'm trying to take it easy for the holidays. The whole point is for this not to stress me out. So I just kind of sat there and figured, since maybe last Thursday I was kind of beating myself up over how that stream went, I was like, you know what, we'll jump straight to just like one stream a week. It's fine, because like either way, this is supposed to be the last week of 2 streams per week, and then that was going to be kind of it until possibly summer school. So we have that. We have that going on. But yeah, we're gonna be on Mondays and everything. There is something that happened yesterday, really big, and tragic, happened to the film world. We lost Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. I don't really want to get into the nitty gritty of all of that and everything, mostly based on because of what this video, my bloody Christmas. Uh, I I don't want to sit there and really talk too much about this or really even get in depth into it. Other than that, I'm sending, all my condolences to Rob Reiner. If you guys don't know who this director is, for Stephen King fans, he directed Stand By Me and he did Misery. But he also did films like A Few Good Men. He did Spinal Tap and the recent sequel that had, I think it already had been out for a while, but I think it just recently hit streaming. For those who love fantasies and those of the 80s, Rob Reiner also did the yeah, Princess Diaries, right? I'm already not, I can't even trust myself. Uh, uh, I'm like immediately already having to sit there and go straight to so the Princess Bride. I apologize, Princess Bride, and Thank you, Jessica. I'm all like, I knew that was wrong because every time I keep saying the Princess Diaries, I'm thinking of Anne Hathaway. I was like, he's never. I don't know if he ever has directed Anne Hathaway. That's another good question, but not for one right here. But like another good film that he also did was When Harry Met Sally. This man was a cornerstone of like the 80s, and even before he became a director, he played a character role of Meathead and All in the Family. So this man he has a lot of roots into cinema and television. So we're sending all the thoughts, prayers, good vibes, whatever you want to name it, call it. We're putting it out there for the family at this time. It's very tragic, and I don't really want to get too deep into it because, again, a lot of that stuff is still all under investigation, and I just don't want to sit there and throw any misinformation out about what has happened. I don't even know if we're really even going to cover this. This isn't really like a news site or like a film news channel. I'll talk about some things that probably happened, but this right here, it's like Yeah, not with a video that's called My Bloody Christmas. I'm sorry. It's like it seems a little tasteless, in my opinion. But we are gonna sit there. We are gonna move on. Next week we are gonna talk about uh, we're gonna talk about Wake Up Dead Man, the new Knives Out movie. It had just recently came out this past week, but I do want to give it a little bit just to make sure that folks actually see it. If you guys don't know what Wake Up Dead Man is the third film in the Knives Out trilogy and everything, or the Benoit Blanc stories, whatever you want to. I love that movie. I love that movie too, and I really want to rewatch it so I can kind of give a proper review for it. And that's probably what we're gonna sit there. That's probably one of the main topics of what we're gonna discuss next Monday. Because again, today's gonna be short, so we're not even gonna make it to the hour. We're only gonna be alive just for a little bit today to sit there and talk about our holiday horrors, and then I'm probably gonna go to bed. It's been a day. It's been a day. But yeah, there is that. I think we got almost everything. Rob Reiner, Wake Up Dead Man, and future streams. I think. Oh, I forgot the other thing that I was trying to figure out how the hell I'm gonna. I guess like put together. How are we going to talk about? Stranger Things dropped a trailer for Volume 2. Now, I don't know if they're going to drop another one for the finale. I do not know. But Stranger Things 5 Volume 2 dropped a trailer today. And it's obviously pitching to us what the next 3 episodes are going to be that come out actually in 10 days. So this is like actually perfect timing to get people again to talk about Stranger Things, figure out what's going to happen. It looks like a lot of involvement with Holly. I there is a, well, I don't want to say it's a line, but several lines. But there is a moment in the trailer when Dustin and Steve are talking to each other. And they pretty much say around. This is me paraphrasing it because it's terrible. If you die, I die. And I'm all like, are they really going to kill Steve and Dustin? Or is one of them going to die? And I know that a lot of us have been really like just scared of like, oh my God, are they actually going to kill off one of the, like, I don't know if they're going to kill off one of the kids. I feel like as like a narrative, possibly one child death is probably going to happen. And maybe that's going to be 11, or maybe 11's sister, or quote unquote sister. I have a feeling we're going to lose Steve. I don't know. There was just something about that moment. I'm like, damn it. I kind of really wish I didn't see this trailer, but at the same time, I'm all like, you know what? It's got me thinking about Stranger Things again. I cannot wait. We are less than 10 days away from that and everything. And yeah, I cannot wait. That's probably got to be one of the biggest boosts on my day, was I got to see that trailer, and it got me. It got the brain going. It got the brain going, wondering. It's like, like what could be happening? Again, I really do hope that the finale, I guess, doesn't get its own trailer. Like I feel like that's gonna be it. But I feel like if you're gonna do a trailer to a, like, what I think it's like almost like a 2 hour or maybe a little over 2 hours long, I'm all like, I was like, leave that for the surprise. Leave that for the surprise. I was like, I didn't mind a Volume 2 trailer, but I'm all like, I think when it comes to the finale, that's like a week after Volume 2 drops, I'm like, let's leave that as a surprise. Or if they do drop it, for me personally, I am not going to watch that trailer. But we're going to move on. We are going to move on to our next subject. That being holiday critters. So up aboard on our bloody Christmas, we have like 3 different little categories that I'm going for here. And the first one is Gremlins. I think Gremlins is probably one of the best holiday horror films. It's more of a horror comedy, but still, I think it's one of those movies that you have to watch it yearly. It's like it's like it's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, or it's a Charlie Brown's Christmas. You have those routine films that you put in rotation, and Gremlins is one of them. And it's a very simple premise. You have like this very old school Christmas town, very reminiscent to It's a Wonderful Life. And I think the town is actually named in a very similar sense to the town in It's a Wonderful Life, because Joe Dante loves that film, and so a lot of that location was meant to have emphasis on that, but also just be a whole recreation of that. And then you throw in these tiny little monsters that start off super super cute, called Mogwais, and you have like a certain set of rules with them. You can't get them wet, can't feed them after midnight, etc., etc. And sadly, those rules get broken, and then we have Gremlins, these little reptilian guys that are practically like the best thing I think ever made. There is something about little like mini critter horror when you have stuff like Gremlins and Critters and Ghoulies. Um, just films like those, like that, regardless if it's a holiday film or not, they have like a bit of charm to them that, yeah, there is something this itty bitty tiny, which really, when you look at them, like they're not all that tiny. I'm pretty sure like a gremlin is probably the size of, I don't know, maybe my desk to the floor here, or maybe over. It's probably about the height of this. Probably with the ears pointed all the way up. It's probably about like that yay high. They're short little dudes, but they can make you laugh, but they can also terrify you. They're very unpredictable. And I think that's pretty much that describes Gremlins. It's unpredictable, hilarious, frightening. I've gotten the opportunity to read an earlier draft where they were far more sinister, and yeah, I prefer the final cut of that film and everything, or the final draft of it, where the gremlins don't eat the dog, and they don't cut off the mom's head and bounce it down the stairs. I don't, as much as I would like a darker Gremlins film with this third one, because again, you have to have it, you have to have it be a little bit different, because if you really look at Gremlins 2, A New Batch, if I remember correctly, I thought it was supposed to be a Thanksgiving film, but I think it's actually a New Year's film. Because I want to sit there, see, I think towards the end they were celebrating the new year. So I could be wrong, but that's what we got going. Uh, I absolutely adore those. Another film that is on my list to watch. I actually need to watch it, and I actually have a whole like little mini list of films. Some of them I actually really want to go back and rewatch. But our own community, Ruby Tombstay, had brought up, but because I did ask you guys to kind of give me a few recommendations for me to look into, rare exports. And I remember watching on YouTube years ago a Ryan Hollinger video that he actually covered this. And regardless that I haven't seen it, and I watched this like review for it, it actually really makes me want to watch the freaking film. Uh, okay. But it's Rare Exports is a Finnish horror film where essentially these people find Santa, and Santa is like a cannibalistic crazy dude, and it doesn't end there, because our holiday critter aspect of this is that it's the elves you got to look out for, little killer elves. And I'm just all like, all right, you have me sold. Just watching the Ryan Hollinger thing, and then I went and I watched the trailer for it, and I was like, I gotta watch this. I believe it is on Tubi right now, if I remember correctly. I will sit there and check that for you guys. It's called Rare Exports: A Christmas Tale, and yes, it is free on Tubi with ads. Or if you have an ad blocker and you're on your PC, you don't have ads. Like, the screen will just kind of go black and then come back into. But yeah, it is a Finnish fantasy action horror comedy. And I love films like these and everything, where they can play around with the genre, but the fact that Santa is like this crazy psycho, and you know, he has like little crazy elves. Hi, if people like paranormal investigations, could you hit up my brother's channel, please? Uh, please, no sub promotion. Please tell me Kiss Save Santa is mentioned today. You know what? We'll sit there and say that I have not seen. Or wait, is Kiss Save Santa an actual thing? Because I remember that was a Family Guy thing. So I have no clue if that is. I have no clue if if that's only a Family Guy thing or if that's like a legit. Because I know Kiss did do media like that back in the day. Um, but yeah, rare export, check it out and everything. Killer elves, anything that you like about, you know, holiday critter films, it's right up there up your alley. I'm adding that to my watch list before the holidays end. So thank you, Ruby, for that recommendation. Um, our next uh I guess you would kind of sit there and say it is just the film itself, but like uh our next topic and everything is Krampus. And you know, I love the Michael Dougherty film. It's another horror comedy that kind of dips a little bit into the little holiday critter thing because of like the little gingerbread man. I guess you consider those holiday, um you know, like a holiday critter and everything. Killer gingerbread man, and then you have like the killer Jack in a Box. Um, it's not mini by any chance. Like the Jack in a Box is actually pretty huge, and it's a gnarly. I'm pretty sure it's a practical effect, but it's a gnarly practical effect. Uh, I absolutely freaking love um Krampus and everything, and pretty much almost anything that is Krampus related. I did recently discover today that there was a film called, I think it's called a Christmas Horror Story, and it's an anthology. So it's like an anthology, has all these different stories, and then you have what is essentially um Santa Claus facing off against Krampus. And I try to look for other Krampus movies, just like Krampus Reckoning, Krampus 2, you know, Mother Krampus, and all this. I have like really no clue. I knew he was a big deal. He's started to become a very big deal for like the holidays here. For those that want something a little bit more than the traditional Santa, then you have the alternative. You have Krampus, Belschnickel, all that, etc. Um, and yeah, like you can't just help but just accept the love from Krampus. I truly adore. Going back to the Michael Dougherty film, there's also something extra added to this, where I mentioned that Joe Dante had added a lot of It's a Wonderful Life into Gremlins. I definitely feel like Michael Dougherty added a lot of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation to the Krampus and the Krampus film, and I think that's kind of what makes, for me at least, what I really enjoy about these films is I like when they can take a piece of an earlier film that, you know, everyone knows, loves, can quote left and right, uh, and then they take that and they put that in their own little world. And so, you know, you have like your cousin Eddie, you know, and the whole redneck family coming into, you know, this family of rich people, um, and you're seeing that class dynamic, even though their family, you know, the class dynamic is a little bit different. Um, but the thing is that I kind of feel where Krampus probably rewards a little bit compared to the National Lampoon Christmas Vacation is that actually both sides learn an awful lot about each other. You know, it's I gotta look up the cast real quick, but all I can see is just Ben, Adam Scott. So like Adam Scott learning a lot from David, I believe it's Koechner, with like, you know, like just survival, hunting, you know, using a gun, just them kind of like learning that. And then David Koechner's character of Howard like kind of learning to be just a little bit more compassionate. You know, like I mean, like he's not like a full blown softy, but you know, he kind of goes from being like this pig headed family member that you kind of really can't wait until they leave, to a little bit more of a softy that it's like, oh, you know what, maybe he is not that bad. Um, he started off very, like, I don't want to say edgy, but on edge. Like, this is someone you're probably not going to get along with. But once you kind of get through that bullshit layer of him, and you really get to sit there and see the actual human being, who is willing to be, not who's willing to sacrifice oneself to protect the family. He's not that all that bad of a character. And I really do like that instead of just making this a anthology series like he did his Halloween with Trick or Treat. um I feel like Michael Dougherty did really, really well with this film. And strangely enough, it's PG-13. My only knock on this is I really kind of wish that there was more Krampus in the in the film. He kind of doesn't really show up until towards the end, but another wonderful piece that you kind of get an early look at him of kind of more the design, a sense of how what the director and the producers wanted to sit there and show this creature is the animation, where it's the grandmother from, I think it's supposed to be Austria, or maybe I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is. um I believe I don't want to sit there and say it's German. um but I'm trying to sit there and find it. Uh, maybe yeah, okay, maybe she is German. She's either German and she's Bavarian. It's one of the things because they actually sit there and show like Austro-Bavarian something on here that I briefly went through. But I absolutely love that background. And then obviously because of budgetary things, it's like, you know what, like, let's actually, instead of just showing like the full flashback like in a live action, let's animate this. And I really kind of wish that something like that came back in live action films. I think the earliest I've ever seen that is done by Monty Python, where obviously the budget wasn't in to show a dragon, and so they had an animator, do the dragon. And obviously they only had so much limited budget for animation, so it's like in order to stop the dragon, the animator had to die of a heart attack, and it just cuts back to live action, and the dude just drops over and dies. And it's something that kind of, it's another memorable moment, and I feel like Doherty kind of knew that. And yeah, watch Krampus. It's a wonderful horror comedy. If you want to sit there and watch the dysfunctional families at Christmas actually get their comeuppance, but at the same time learn to kind of work together, it's a wonderful film. Before we move on to our next subject, there is a honorable mention that's kind of underneath this folklore kind of thing. Jack Frost. I love Jack Frost. Outside of like the sexual assault scene and everything, kind of having a very sarcastic serial killer be melted in snow and come back as a killer snowman is a really, really fun idea. And the more that I kind of give shit for people that like Sharknado, even though I like Sharknado, but the concept of that being put the film, and I'm thinking, it's like, well, dude, you love this holiday slasher horror comedy, black comedy thing called Jack Frost. It's like, that's a killer snowman. It's like you have people being either stabbed to death by icicles or suffocated in the snow, whatever it is, frozen to death. And it's done in like the most comedic way. And I felt like when I was kind of making this list, I was like, wow, I really need to humble myself and actually get off the balls that is Sharknado. Again, I love that movie too, but it's more of the like, well, you know what? Like, if they can make Sharknado, they can make anything in Hollywood. Um, moving on to our final category for our holiday horror, killer Santas. Santa's usually always there to make us feel really, really good. He rewards us or he punishes us with maybe just some coal. It's not like Krampus where he just throws us in a bag and he's gonna go cook us later, or Belschnuckle's gonna come over and beat the crap out of us with with a whip, or like a bundle of sticks. I think that's what it's more. It's not really a whip. It's a bundle of sticks, and it really stings. Um, but yeah, like there is something about that, and then kind of pervading that wonderful. I don't know. Like when I think of Santa, I think of those old Coca-Cola like those painted Coca-Cola posters of Santa and everything that look kind of realistic, but it has like a holiday charm. And then turning that into like, well, okay, so this dude is like a sadistic serial killer now. It may not be the real Santa, but it's a guy dressed up in Santa, and it's the idea that he is perversing the holiday, even though really the holiday, if you look back at its roots in paganism with like the winter solstice, it's all dark. The holidays are pretty dark, but also too life is dark all in general. Um, I actually have two films that I'm going to go through, and then we're going to kind of mention through our honorable mentions. So the first one, I wasn't going to think about bringing it up until after I had a video today bring it to my attention. But one of the funnest Killer Santa films that I've ever watched is Deadly Ground. Uh, Deadly Ground is Home Alone, but with a psycho running rampant in a rich person's mansion trying to take the life of a child. And it's pretty much like you look at the concept and you're like, wow, there's like nothing really kind of silly about that until you actually watch the film and you realize that this little boy, because it's a foreign film, and this was made before Home Alone, but because of like the rights, and I think it was kind of lost for like a few years. um the film didn't officially, I think, release until 89, and then it kind of got lost again, and then it was brought back. But I saw this on Joe Bob Briggs's last drive-in during one of his holiday things, and yeah, watching it, it's pretty much it's a little boy that watches way too much American media. Like he has like an obsession for Rambo, and he just turns the Home Alone gimmick up. Like he cranks it up to like a whole knock. Like he's putting like the face makeup on like Rambo. He's doing everything to protect both himself and his grandfather, who is going, like, I think he's like already blind in one eye and he can barely move to begin with. So where there are comedic moments in this film, there are actually moments where you really want you fear for this kid, because it's like he's trying to make sure grandpa is safe. His whole thing isn't just about him being safe, it's about protecting his grandpa. And like he's not a good kid either. It's like really kind of shown around that he's a very smart prodigy, um but he's just being a kid. And seeing him do everything to defend and protect his grandpa, it kind of pulls on the heartstrings. And you really don't want this crazy psycho who has escaped a psych ward and garnered Santa's clothing, and he's just running around, trying to kill a little boy. And it's maddening. It's maddening. It's a fun watch and everything. If you haven't seen it, to be honest, I'm pretty sure you're gonna find it on Shudder. Maybe we'll sit there and we'll actually get this. Crap. I'm actually trying to find it. 89 Deadly Ground 89. Wow, is it no longer on streaming? Have they made this film lost again? Okay, you're giving me. It's giving me Sylvester still not Sylvester Stallone, Steven Seagal. Yeah, no. So I don't even think this is even on. Oh, it's called Deadly Games. That's what it is, not Deadly Ground. Deadly Games. I felt so stupid. It is currently available on Shudder. That is where. So I apologize. The film is called Deadly Games, not Deadly Grounds. I was like, why the hell is this giving me Steven Seagal? But yeah, that's one to watch. Another one to watch, which if you guys can't already sit there and see here down below, Silent Night, Deadly Night. I feel like that's a given. That's a given for Killer Santa movies to watch. Seagal as Santa, yes, please. Right? I mean, we already got Mel Gibson. We got Mel Gibson to play the fat man. So let's actually get Steven Seagal in there, who doesn't need a bodysuit. He can just sell it like it is. But yeah, now I want a Steven Seagal Santa film. And name it Deadly Grounds. Just name it Deadly Grounds. So then it corrects me. I just get the year date wrong because it didn't release in '89. But yeah, Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's your typical slasher film, just with a holiday twist to it. And I feel like if you know this film, you probably actually know it for its sequel because of the iconic line "Garbage Day." God, I remember when I watched that film, when I watched that sequel, I was really hoping for like a whole like good story and find out it's like majority all recap of the first film with just some new scenes shot. And I was like, wow, I felt screwed. But I was apparently told by some friends that it's like, oh, watch the other sequels. The other sequels, some of them get bad, but some actually are a lot better. Like they're not that bad. And I'm all like, I don't know. I don't know if I could trust that. It's like after I don't know if for one if you could top Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, but I did hear that four I think was a really really good return to form and everything. But they have a remake of this movie coming out that I am super excited to see. Sadly, it was not marketed well. I think this past weekend was its opening weekend, and it just went a little over $1 million at the box office. So I feel like it did not make back its budget. But the only way I was even reminded of this film was because last week they had for 48 hours you can watch the Nazi scene in which the the main character who plays Billy, who was the Michael Myers surrogate killer in Halloween Ends, he plays Billy, and he has like a voice in his head that he listens to that I'm guessing is the reason why he's like a serial killer. Uh, and for 48 hours they played this whole scene where the Nazis were it's modern day. These Nazis are holding a rally for Christmas and everything. And Billy is shocked. He's like, holy shit, these are Nazis. And so he goes, gets his axe and everything, locks up the building so no one can escape, and proceeds to start just decapitating and mutilating Nazis. And I gotta sit there and say that the cheeriest moment it is a remake of the same scene from the original where there are two guys like sledding down a hill in the woods, and the Billy character ends up beheading one of those guys. This is from the original one. So in the Nazi scene towards the end, they recreate that, but instead of like a sled, this woman, this Nazi woman that is leading the whole party, and that escapes after gunning practically half of the body count that was in there, killing her own people with a machine gun. It's like, bro, what the hell? You're harming more of your people than you are trying to harm the Santa. But oh well. She thinks that she's gotten away. She's driving, and Billy knows where the hell she's going, and he hides right behind the tree, very similar to the original, and proceeds to decapitate her. Not from neck decapitate. He gets her right from the mouth and just like chops cleanly, to the point you get like a little tongue action from like what's supposed to be like the body convulsing. And I was like, oh my god, they remade this shot, but they made it better somehow. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I definitely I know they're not showing it at my local theater, but if you can look it up at any of your local theaters, watch the remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night. Tell me what the hell you think about it. Put it on your Letterboxd reviews. I'll read those and everything. But yeah, I really want to sit there and see this film. This film looks like a really, really fun film. We are going to move over to, I don't have an honorable mentions tab. So, but we do have honorable mentions here. We have two films. The first one, it's the crowning of any holiday horror. Black Christmas, directed by Bob Clark, came out in '74, I believe. This was like the one that kind of put holiday horror on the map, even though there is a film that came out before Bob Clark's Black Christmas. But I feel like this is a much watch because if you're very much fans of oh, hold on. I think I may have gotten yeah, no. Okay, so this actually is supposed to be the very first holiday horror film. But this one it's not a killer Santa, but a um it is a psycho in the house that is very reminiscent of When a Stranger Calls. Yeah, it's the same director who made A Christmas Story. Bob Clark, who did A Christmas Story of like, the kid that's asking for the Red Ryder BB gun. That's all he ever wants for Christmas. And everyone's all like, are you kidding? You're going to shoot your eye out, kid. Funniest line that gets used over and over again. This man made a slasher film, which I believe was 6 years, because I believe A Christmas Story came out in the 80s, if I remember correctly. I actually could be wrong on that. It came out in 83 and everything. And he also did Porky's. No wonder I enjoy Porky so much. It's a Bob Clark feature. But yeah, leave it to the Canadians to make Christmas scary without Krampus or anything. I truly adore it. But if you love A Christmas Story, then you need to watch the other side of the coin from Bob Clark's holiday stuff with Black Christmas. The one thing I very much feel for this film, it's the oddest looking character, but it's the first victim. Hi, Emily, how are you doing? But it's the very first victim of the film. Her dad shows up, and he's kind of more of like supposed to be the outsider, kind of like us, where we're viewing this world brand new and everything. Finds out that the sorority sisters drink a lot, swear a lot, have a lot of premarital sex, all that Old Testament stuff that, oh, you're not supposed to be doing that. But yet at the same time, like, he doesn't really seem like he's that much of a judgmental person. But he's like one of my favorite characters ever, because just watching his reaction of everything. And, there's even a little girl that goes missing, and I think she's supposed to be the official very first victim. And just watching him go through as he's trying to find his daughter, and eventually he finds out she's been in the house the whole freaking time. You made it. Thank you for making it, Emily. There is just something just about that film. It's mystery, the characters used. This had Margot Kidder, and she's like another fascinating character. Like, nothing much in the ways of character development or an arc or a journey. She's just a very interesting character. She just says what her mind is, and yeah, like it's without really having much of a story for her. Like, she makes it entertaining. She has enough charisma. This is also early John Saxon too, before he did A Nightmare on Elm Street. He played the lieutenant police officer in this film. So watch Black Christmas. You can watch it on Tubi. As well. And everything, pretty much, you know what, this whole stream and the future streams, they're all sponsored by Tubi. I need to have a Tubi somewhere here on the screen to sit there and show you guys, hey, we're sponsored by Tubi. Something like this, something like my lower thirds, everything. If you're curious towards or if you're curious towards the Black Christmas 2019, don't. Yeah, I was not a fan of that, and I think I have seen the first remake of that, which really I don't really have no notes on. I know some people enjoyed it. They thought maybe it was a little bit better than the first, but I don't know. I like the pacing of the first film. To me, that's what gets it. Get that coin. Yes, get that coin. But the first remake was back in 06. And that had like Katie Cassidy, which holy crap, I think wasn't Katie Cassidy in Arrow? Oh, she was in a Nightmare on Elm Street remake. She was in Taken. Played Kelly Presley in Black Christmas. She was in the remake of When a Stranger Calls. Ruby in the third season of the horror series Supernatural. Yeah, and then she played Laura Lance in Black Siren. I thought so. I did not. Wow, that's funny because that's like the Supernatural guys. Like, they try to do movies, and one did My Bloody Valentine, and then the other one did the Friday the 13th, the porn edition. That's what I call the last one they did. I was like, wait, Supernatural. Yeah, I completely forgot that she was in Supernatural. I think Ruby was a demon, if I remember correctly. I think she was like a demon that fell in love with one of the Winchester boys, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've seen that. But holy crap, if we dig any deeper, that's going down a rabbit hole, and I'm already past my my 30-minute mark, so I want to really do wrap this up. But watch Black Christmas. It's a wonderful slasher, not murder mystery, but mystery story. Probably the best way I could probably describe it for most people in modern day. It is a very well-paced thriller, and you will not be let down. The killer is creepy, and the things he says, even to me, as I was watching it this past weekend, I felt very like, oh my god, I don't even think I couldn't even say them on YouTube, not without editing. I could not say it. I could explain the plot, but I don't need to hyperfixate. There is, yeah, because that to me, that's what I call falling down the rabbit hole, is hyperfixating. Our final one, which is recommended by our community's own Ghostline, is Christmas Evil. And this one is a comical festival fright. A toy maker who revels in the Christmas spirit suffers a mental breakdown when his work is met with hypocrisy and cynicism, and goes on a Yuletide killing spree. So I could have swore I thought this was supposed to predate Black Christmas, but this actually came out 6 years afterwards. But Christmas Evil is another one of those Killer Santa films. I probably just put this back to Killer Santas and everything. I remember, I believe, watching this at one point when I was younger, like way too young to be watching this. But yeah, it's a psychological slasher film. And to be honest, there's nothing new to the plot of this. Some dude dresses up like Santa Claus or works around during the holidays, has a full mental breakdown, and goes on a killing spree. That's practically Silent Night, Deadly Night. And I do think that this did predate Silent Night, Deadly Night as well. Because yeah, I'm trying to look it up for you guys. Silent Night. Okay, that came out a year afterwards. So back-to-back years. Siskel and Ebert had a field day with like Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Christmas Evil, where they kind of felt like it bastardized Christmas. If anything, I don't really sit there and look at it as it bastardizes it, but I do think that a lot of these films do have a lot of talk about how people really do act towards the holidays, and not trying to sit there and say I side with these killers and everything, but there is some truth to it that a lot of these people that are struggling and having a tough time usually get pushed to the breaking point right around the holiday season. And when they start sitting there and seeing other people that, say one thing about, spreading tidings of great joy, when in all honesty, all they are is hurting other people, in comes the Killer Santas. I feel like that's actually probably what the Killer Santas are to actually represent. It is a fight against the commercialization of Christmas and corporate greed, and just the wickedness of the human heart, that they take a symbol that is supposed to represent purity and joy and happiness, and it really kind of unleashes the mania, the psychosis of mankind. Yeah, we're gonna dress as this thing that you perceive as fun and joyful, and we're gonna ruin this image to you because you're a naughty boy. I don't know how else to fucking say that. But Christmas Evil, it's on my watch list and everything, so who knows, maybe this weekend, maybe I'll sit there and host a watch a watch party in Discord, and we'll watch Rare Exports, and we will watch Christmas Evil, and we'll probably watch Deadly Games as well. Oh no, wait, can't freaking find that one. So we may try to do Silent Night, Deadly Night. We'll try to sit there and find out. We'll just try to find a whole Christmas marathon thing and actually watch it. We are, though, going to sit there and wrap up and everything. So thank you guys again for watching. Again, if you love to sit there and join us in these conversations, you guys are more than welcome to. Like the video, leave a comment if you're watching this post live and everything. Hit that notification bell so you know whenever I go live. I know that most people, once you hit follow, you think it does the notification bell, but it doesn't. It just personalizes it. So if anything I upload is something in your algorithm of what you're watching, that's the only way my video is going to show up. So make sure to hit that little notification bell for, for everything, to hit it and go for all and everything instead of personalized. So you guys know when I drop new videos, when I do these lives and everything. Again, I don't know what I'm gonna sit there and be covering next week. All I know is we are gonna be covering Wake Up Dead Man, the third Knives Out movie. So if you want to sit there and join us for that discussion, do watch that. That's on Netflix right now. That just came out this past Friday, I believe. Yes. Yes, I believe it was Friday. It was Friday or Thursday. But that came out and everything. It's a wonderful film. If you love your murder mysteries and everything. But yeah, with that being said, I'll catch you guys all later and see you guys all on Monday. Bye bye.